Hello and welcome back to the shed. Well, we're here again. Yep, we're at the mill. So let me run you through what happened. We had a little production run of 1500 units to be machined, most of which I was doing with the 3-inch indexable face mill, and that worked lovely. But there was 70 odd units that needed to be end milled, or side milled rather. And that was a bit of a problem because the cutter was getting very hot. So let's set up the coolant for the last 70 cuts. What could go wrong? Well, I've never used the coolant on this machine, and it turned out it doesn't work. So we investigated it, and it turned out the switch was no good. Easy. So we bypassed the switch, still didn't work. Okay. Checking it out, turns out the coolant pump motor is finished. So what are we going to do now? We need to get this job finished. So as a temporary measure, just in order to get the job done, in the best traditions of bodging things, we had an old table saw motor, which we made a little universal joint from some rubber hose and fixed it to the wall. And yeah, it works, albeit rather noisily. So we need to do something about that. And something else I'm not keen on with this setup is this rigid bit of pipe to feed the coolant, because it just doesn't reach the vise. So it means that you've got to spray coolant everywhere in order to get it to reach the cutter. Plus it's got a bit of a tendency to fall over, so we end up with coolant everywhere. So I think we shall address that while we're here. Ideally we need to fix this somewhere here so it can be a lot more local. So the first job is going to be to replace the coolant pump with one that we found online from a place called Rotor-Grip, hashtag not sponsored. They're not cheap, admittedly, but it's the right unit, and with any luck it'll be a lot quieter than what we've got. And because this is the original Warco unit, it's got the original plug on it and everything, so we're going to salvage the mains cable ready to put onto our new pump. Right, there's our mains cable, kind of showing its age a little bit, because obviously the colour coding on the cable is not what you'd expect these days. We've got it's not even the old British colouring, to be honest with you. But that's the 3-phase colours, and the green was earth or ground for our American friends. So now we just need to get this onto the new pump. And the new pump comes a lot better equipped than the old one. There's a nice little terminal block in here, so we can nut and bolt to it. The only thing it doesn't come with is this stuffing gland that we've got in here. It just comes with a 20mm hole. So I've put the stuffing gland in just to allow a little bit more IP rating for a bit of coolant and stuff. They're cheap enough to buy, although I tend to have quite a few of them laying around. So now we can just get the cable in there, connect it up to the ground and the 3-phase colours, and then we can check it for rotation, make sure it's spinning the right way. If it isn't, we just simply need to switch 2 of the phases around, and that will reverse the direction. Nice and simple. Right, there we go, it's all connected up. We've checked it and make sure it's spinning the right way. Unluckily enough, we did have to switch 2 phases around because I didn't get it right the first time. But now it's right, so we can now put some pipe work on it and see if it works. Well, that works a lot better than I thought it was going to. That is seriously powerful, that pump, and it's dead silent, absolutely wonderful. But I am going to have the chip tray off and seal it because it's leaking like a sieve. Good. Right, next thing is we get the nozzle mounted to here somewhere, and it's also got an adjustment tap on it, so we can turn it down, luckily, because it seems to be gushing out like a good one. Wonderful. Right, well, there we are. This is the coolant delivery system with the valve and the nozzle. In order to mount this, I think the easiest thing to do is we're going to bend up a U-shaped bracket with a couple of holes in the end and then we can trap the valve in the middle and put the pipework through it, hopefully hold it all together, weld something on the back to fix to the machine, and something like that. So that will go either side of the valve, and then the pipework can go through the holes, and then this will fix to the back of the machine. So let's get it installed. And there we have it, all nicely installed and working perfect. It reaches the vise now, which means it reaches the cutter and does what it's supposed to do. We've got our control, we can turn it up and down. So if we really want flood coolant, it will flood. Or we can turn it down, which is lovely. And luckily, because we can turn it down, it means I haven't got to have the tray off to seal the tray because it's not flooding the floor anymore. Brilliant stuff. The biggest problem we have got now, obviously, is the vise is now letting all the coolant drip off the back. It's never easy, is it? So I suppose we'd better do something about that. Anyway, that's it for the moment. That's all I got. That's all I really need. Lovely, that should save a few quid in end mills. Brilliant. Right, see you on the next one. And as always, well, thanks for watching.